Hey there, it's Ben Housel here, and here in Final Cut Pro 10 we're going to be having a look at how we work with custom text appearance and format settings in Final Cut Pro 10. Now we're really going to be looking at two main things here. One is how to set them up, and the other is how to clear them from Final Cut Pro when we've kind of already got them set up. And I've got a couple set up already, so we're going to dive in and have a look at how we clear those existing text presets that we don't need anymore, or perhaps we set them up wrong, so we want to remove them. This video is sponsored by FX Factory, and in it we're going to be kind of featuring the awesome data pop from Stupid Raisins. We're not actually really using that plugin in this tutorial. We're really looking at the text effects, so everything will be relevant to anyone using Final Cut Pro 10, but it's kind of in the background, and we might mention a couple of cool things that it does as we go through. So jumping into Final Cut Pro 10, we have this map set up, which is one of the plugins that comes with the Stupid Raisins data pop from FX Factory. So what I want to do here is set up two different text styles, one for the name of the province and one for the population, that I can use across each of these little animations across the map of Canada that we have here. So you can see when these animate on at the beginning, they kind of pop up across the country, and we haven't quite finished our setup of it, but we want to kind of have a style that we can use across it. Now, I've already been setting up a couple of different styles, but I didn't get them quite right what we want to do, so I want to clear these existing population and population 1 and province 1 styles first of all before we kind of get going with setting up a new style. So I'm going to hold down Command and tap the Tab key to come to my Finder, and we're going to go to the Go menu. Now when you go to the Go menu in the Finder, so you can see we're in the Finder here because of the word Finder just to the right of the apple, I want to hold down the Alt key, and basically you can see when I hold down the Alt key it shows me the library here. So this is going to show us some hidden things that we wouldn't normally see when we're just browsing our home folder by default. So you can see it's kind of a grayed out folder here, so it's sort of a hidden folder. And we're going to jump into Library, Application Support, and then we're going to scroll down all the way to Motion, and in the Motion options we're going to see Library. So basically we're going to Library, holding down the Alt key, we're coming into Application Support, Motion, Library, and in here you can see at the bottom here we've got the text styles, which where we can see the different kind of image thumbnails, so some PNGs, and the text styles that are set up here. So basically we can select all of these, hold down the Command key and tap delete, or drag them to the trash, whichever you prefer. And then I'm going to come to my trash and right click on it and hit empty bin. So now those are deleted, except they're not. They'll still appear in Final Cut Pro 10 until I restart it. So I'm just going to quit out of Final Cut Pro. And once Final Cut Pro is quit, as soon as it's done, you can see my text styles are still gone from that folder. I'm going to come back into Final Cut Pro. We'll start from the dock, and it will jump back into that project again. So basically we're jumping back into the same project, and we're going to set up the text styles that we want. And now when we select one of our type boxes here, and what you might find is that the old style does still get listed there. Now what you'll need to do is actually create a new style. That's what I've done here. I kind of came across this problem, and then that will kind of reset the list that we have here. So basically I'm going to select British Columbia there. We're going to come to our 2D styles. I'm going to select bold, and we'll scale this down so it kind of fits in that space, right? And a couple of useful tips for positioning type in something like this. So if we come to our type options here, I've double clicked here to kind of increase the height of my inspector, and I'm going to zoom in here to 200%. Just going to use my little red box across here to come across. If we're wanting to position something more accurately in here, then we can use this position option down here, and we can use the X and Y options to really kind of refine the location of where that text sits. If we just drag this by default without holding down the Alt key, then it's going to move really quickly. So we'll just get that positioned nicely, and we'll select our population here, and I'm going to start with my 2D styles. We'll start with a condensed style, and we'll scale this down. And again, I'm going to use the Y option here to kind of just nudge that down a little bit. So I'm just holding down Alt as I nudge that down. So what I want to do here is add a couple extra little options. So I'm going to scroll down to my drop shadow and turn that on. I'm going to show the options here. I'm going to make sure the blur is set to 0. I want to have a kind of nice sharp drop shadow, and I'm going to change the distance here to 2, which is just going to give it that nice little refined edge off to the bottom right. Actually, I'll leave it at 3 pixels. And we'll do the same for British Columbia as well. So I'm going to turn on my drop shadow, make sure the blur is turned right down to 0, and then we'll change the distance here to 3, and we'll just get that nice little pop of that text there. So this is what we're going to turn into our type styles. So we'll highlight British Columbia here, and then in the inspector we'll scroll up to the top. We'll come here, and I'm going to go to Save All Formats and Appearance Attributes. So that's going to save the style and the scale and everything like that. And we'll call this Province All Caps and hit enter. So now you'll see that list is reset. So the other styles that I'd made there before has basically reset. So now if I select Alberta here and go to Province All Caps, we'll have Alberta nicely formatted. Let's see if Saskatchewan works. Nice, so it's just fitting in that box there. And again, we can highlight that and then just modify the location of that in that box. So let's come back to our population here, and we'll save this. So all format and appearance attributes. We'll call this province population. So you can see now we've got those two styles there. I'm going to highlight Alberta, and we'll change this to province population. Okay, and then we just need to tweak the height of this. So I'm going to pull the text for Alberta back up a little bit. And basically each of these little boxes in the Stupid Raisins data pop kind of map animation has a color background that we can use. So I'm going to come to the options for this first box, and you can see in my type options I set the fill color to this red. I'm actually going to change this, and we'll just show you something here. So basically we're going to pick a kind of brighter Canadian red, so something nice and rich. And basically what we're going to do now is take this color that we've created and just drag it across into our set of colors here. So basically we can reuse this. So if I come to my second pin, I can select that, and I can select that same red, so we can keep that nice level of consistency across all of these. So that's a quick overview of how to set up and kind of modify and control the color, set up your own text styles that you can use when you're creating a design like this and you don't want to have to set the type up every time, and also how to kind of set that swatch color as well. So I'll leave some information below about how to find that folder where you'll need to go to delete the existing styles or formats if you have them set up. And then just be aware that when you restart Final Cut Pro 10, you may still get a list of those previous styles there. So you might still see them as you kind of go through kind of older formatted text boxes. And then that Alt key and dragging the number here is going to really help you get that refined layout and positioning of these type boxes. We have a lot of very cool options in this data pop, kind of map animation, and I definitely recommend taking a look at it. Obviously we haven't formatted everything here. Its default is kind of all the countries of the world, but it has some other maps in there as well. But you can also use your own customized maps. I'm going to do a full tutorial on this a little bit later on, but I wanted to cover some of these text tips that I think are really useful across all plugins when you're working with type and color and want to set up a style in Final Cut Pro 10. So the Stupid Raisins data pop plugin is a super cool one to check out, but what I wanted to cover here really was that kind of way in which we can set up these text styles, how we can create those color swatches. So this is useful across any different kind of plugins that we're using when we're working with type in Final Cut Pro 10, so hopefully it's useful for everyone. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'm also working on a full intro to Final Cut Pro 10. You'll see a link to that below. Definitely do go and check it out. If you like the style of these tutorials, then hopefully you'll get a lot out of that full class as well. There's almost 4 hours worth of video tutorials on Final Cut Pro 10 there. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on this tutorial. Leave your questions below, and thanks for watching.